Hello, Sonoma 3rd and 4th graders. This is Mrs. Picard. I've got a book to read for you today, a song to sing for you, and then maybe something that you'd like to try. This book is called The Blues of Flats Brown, and it's by Walter Dean Myers, and it was illustrated by Nina Laden. This here's the story of Flats Brown. If you ain't never heard of Flats, that's okay, because he probably never heard of you neither. Flats was born in a junkyard way down in Moon Bayou, Mississippi. The junkyard was owned by a man named A.J. Grubbs. Now, A.J. Grubbs was the meanest man in Mound Bayou. He was so mean he didn't even like himself. He had a little piece of mirror on the door of the hut he slept in, and every time he saw his face in it, he spit on it. Grubbs had 2 dogs, Flats and Caleb. He was mean to both of them. Flats was young, no more than a teenager in dog years. Caleb was old, and he had a touch of arthritis in his hip, but he had a good heart. What Flats liked to do most was play the blues. He had an old national guitar, and he could just about make that thing sing. He would spend all his free time sitting and picking out tunes on that guitar and singing. Did I tell you he could sing? Man, he could sing up a storm. You hear me? A.J. Grubbs had other ideas. He wanted Flats and Caleb to be fighting dogs so they could brag on him. One night, Grubbs brought some strangers into the junkyard. They had a big, ugly bulldog with them. "Caleb, what they fixin' to do?" Flats asked. "I think they're going to make me fight that dog," Caleb said. "Caleb, you're too old," Flats said. "That dog will..." "Oh, no," Caleb said. "Oh, no." It was a terrible fight with barking and growling and yelping all over the place, and Caleb was hurt real bad. "You stupid dog," A.J. Grubbs kicked Caleb. "You're making me look stupid. Flats will fight tomorrow, and he'd better win." "Caleb, I'm not a fighting dog," said Flats, when A.J. Grubbs had left him. "I'm a blues-playing dog." "I know," Caleb said. "We gotta run away from here." And that night, when the moon was behind the cloud, the 2 friends crawled under the fence. "Caleb, why is A.J. so mean?" Flats asked when they'd gone outside. "Sometimes I think he's just like the junk in that yard," Caleb said. "Just a throwed-away man." Caleb and Flats made their way to Shanty Town. They lived where they could make enough and money to eat by having Flats play on the guitar on the street. People'd listen to him playing the blues, and he'd throw them coins. "Hey, you the blues-playing dog everybody talking about, a man with a gold tooth?" asked one day. "Yeah, that's me," said Flats. "Well, why don't you come and play at my club?" And that's how Flats got to play in a black club called the Curly One. Every night, Flats played, and Caleb backed him up on the bones. Flats put down some mean sounds. He played the bent tail blues, the mangy muzzle stomp, and his favorite, the freaky filet blues. Just like he owned them. But one day in the middle of the bad barking blues, who come in the door but A.J. Grubbs? "You're my dog," Grubbs called out, "and I'm here to get you and take you back to the junkyards." Grubbs tried to drag Flats out of the club. He would have done it, too, if Caleb hadn't chomped down on his leg. While Grubbs hopped around on one foot, Flat and Caleb hot-pawed it out the front door. They were really scared as they took off the road again. They didn't stop this time until they got clear to Memphis, Tennessee. "If we keep playing on the street, A.J. Grubbs will find us again," Flats said. "I can't stand no fighting." "Maybe you can make a record," Caleb said, looking up at a sign for Imperial Records. They found a little recording studio on Beale Street. The man in the studio said he'd never heard of a blues-playing dog, but he gave Flats a chance. Flats sat on a stool and played a little song he'd written himself called the junkyard heap, and the man hired him on the spot. People who heard Flat's record wondered where he'd come from. Some were saying he had 6 fingers on each paw, and some said that his wife had run off to Mexico and left him with a broken heart. None of that was true, but it sold a lot of records. You can imagine what happened next. Old A.J. Grubbs, bad breath and all, showed up at the recording studio, sweating and acting ugly. "That dog is mine," Grubbs hollered, "and I come to get him." Fletch jumped out of the window and Caleb ran out the back door. They ran down the alley, cut through a tent revival meeting, and didn't stop until they reached the railroad tracks. They were dead tired as they waited for a train going north. When it came, Caleb put his arms around Flats and said goodbye. "Goodbye?" Flats looked at his best friend. "Flats, I'm too old to be running like this," Caleb said. "You're young and you got a lot of life and a lot of music in you." "But Caleb, we're a team," Flats said, choking back tears. "It's you that Grubbs is after," Caleb said. "You gotta go, and Caleb gotta stay behind. Go on now, boy. Here comes the midnight special." He's got a tear in his eye. So does old Caleb. Now, New York was the biggest place Flats ever did see. For a while, he just wandered the streets looking at tall buildings and feeling out of place as a 3-legged skunk at a Georgia hoedown. By the time he found a place where they played the blues, he was skinny as a rail. Blind Buddy Doyle, the king of country blues, was the owner, and he told Flats to sit down and play. Flats was nervous, but he started to play. He played the sounds of the waterfront in Mound Bayou and music from the little church down the street from the junkyard. He played the lonely sounds of a freight train and the hot sounds of the curlicue. He really put his heart and his soul into playing. "I might be blind," said Blind Doyle, "but I can see that dream you're playing." Flats got the job and did good, real good. Everybody got to loving him, but I guess you know what the wind blew in one stormy night. That's right, it was old A.J. Grubbs. Soon as Flats saw Grubbs, he remembered what Caleb said when he stayed back in Memphis. He sat down and started playing a little tune he called "They Ain't No Use Running Blues." "I got you now," Grubbs said. "You're going back with me." Flats felt lower than a bow-legged worm, but then he thought about Caleb had said, and that Grubbs was just like the junk in his yard. He was a throwed-away man. Flats felt real bad about going back to Mound Bayou, but he felt bad for Grubbs, too. "Mr. Grubbs, I just want to play one more tune before I go," said Flats. "This is a song I wrote called The Gritty Grubbs Blues, and it goes like this." Well, Flats started playing the Gritty Grubbs Blues about a man nobody understood and everybody thought was bad because he lived in a junkyard. And as Flats played, the tears started running down Grubbs' face. That song touched Grubbs deep inside, the way blues do sometimes. "Flats, that is the best song I have ever heard," he said when Flats was done playing. "You go on playing that song, and I will go back home, and I will leave you in peace." And with that, A.J. Grubbs picked himself up and walked right outside the door. All he'd needed was for somebody to show him a little love. After that, everybody thought Flats was going to stay in New York and get filthy rich. Well, what they didn't know was that Flats was a blues-playing kind of dog, not a filthy rich kind of dog. And about a week later, Flats got his guitar, packed up some fried chicken in a cardboard suitcase, and he left New York. That was the last time around here anybody ever heard of Flats. Once in a while, people from Savannah, Georgia, would talk about two dogs that played the blues down near the waterfront. They said one dog played guitar and the other backed him up on the bones, and their favorite tune was the Freaky Flea Blues. Some people don't believe that. I do. And this is the New York City Blues. I got the New York City far from the down-home blues. I got the New York City far from the down-home blues. If you're looking for true love, New York ain't what you choose. And, but that's not the song that I wrote for you guys. This is a great book. You might be able to find it online. In fact, there is a video link of somebody else reading it online. So I'm going to link a Brain Pop page so you can learn a little bit more about the blues. I can tell you a little bit about it real quick before I play you my blues. Blues came from the South, probably developed by African Americans in the styles of, and you can hear a lot of spiritual sounds in the blues. They sing about hardships and bad times. And that's kind of what we're going through right now, some hardships and some bad times. We're supposed to be back to school on April 13th, and I can't wait to see you. There's a lot of people who are scared about this virus, and I thought maybe a story about someone that was going through hard times might be something you could relate to. The other thing I really liked about the book was that Flats Brown realized that really what A.J. Grubbs needed was a little love. And I hope that at your house you're giving your mom and your dad, your brothers and sisters if you have them, or other people that are living with you, a lot of love. Because right now we all need a lot of love. We're not together and we're feeling kind of separate. So I wrote a blues song for you. Mistakes are okay. I got the can't go nowhere, staying at home blues. I got the can't go nowhere, staying at home blues. School's online, I guess that's fine blues. Miss you students, miss the other teachers too. Miss you students, miss the other teachers too. But I can write some music and I can create some art to do. Write me a blues song and I will play it for you. Write me a blues song and I will play it for you. Let's be creative and sing a song that's new. So I'm serious. Write me a blues song and send it to me on Blooms. And then if I get a few of them together, I'll record it and put it on YouTube and say your name as the lyricist. So I'm putting an attachment to a worksheet also in the Blooms link that will help you write your own blues song. I really would love to hear it. And like I said, I'll come down and play it for you on my piano. Maybe I won't make quite so many mistakes next time. Until later, Stay healthy, stay happy, and spread lots of love, you guys. Bye-bye.